Yeah, Lauren, this is very sad news. The section is blocked off surrounding the home, so we cannot get very close to that actual home that exploded last weekend. But the woman did die. She has been identified as a 44-year-old Nicole Burton. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office says she passed away on Wednesday at a hospital in San Antonio. She died from complications from her severe burns. Burton was one of two people inside the home last week when it was destroyed. Both had to be rescued and suffered critical burn injuries. The identity of the man has not been released at this point. Texas Gas Service says a buildup of natural gas from a damaged service line on an adjacent property fueled the explosion. The blast reduced Burton's home to pretty much nothing and sent debris flying into nearby yards, ripping the siding from a neighbor's house. And the Texas Gas Service Company is investigating the cause of why this home exploded. That remains undetermined at this time. Amanda, according to officials, that woman died from complications of her burn injuries. She's been identified as 44-year-old Nicole Burton. Now, the explosion happened last weekend. Texas Gas Service is investigating the cause of it and says it was an isolated incident that only affects those living in this neighborhood. The company has a team on site assisting with the investigation and monitoring conditions. The managing vice president of operations says they didn't know of any calls about leaks until after the explosions. Officials say they're still trying to determine the likely cause of the natural gas buildup. Some issues found at a service line connection for a nearby property, which seems to be caused by a third party. The explosion caused damage to about 5 homes in the area. Now, that second person involved in the incident who was also hurt has not been identified, and at last check, that person is still recovering in the hospital. Good morning, Dave. Yeah, that woman died just 4 days after the home explosion. Officials have identified her as 44-year-old Nicole Burton. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office says she passed away on Wednesday at a hospital in San Antonio. She died from complications from her severe burns. Texas Gas Service is leading this investigation, trying to determine what caused the explosion. The woman died from complications of her burn injuries. She was 44 years old and has been identified as Nicole Burton. The explosion happened last weekend. The Texas Gas Service is investigating it. And the man who was also hurt in the explosion has not been identified at this point. We do know he was severely injured from the blast, and at last check, he's still recovering in the hospital.